Hello, and welcome back. I just watched the 6-episode OVA series, The Enemies, the Pirates. It came out in 1990, and it's actually pretty peculiar how unpopular or how many people don't know about this show. It's pretty strange because it seems to be pretty available. There's several different streaming sites that have it. I mean, albeit illegal streaming sites. It's torrentable. I mean, you can find downloads of it. Hell, you can even find like VHSs of it from back in the day. So it's kind of strange to me that less people have seen it, especially because it's a 6-episode OVA. It has several different fan subs out there, and it's just really strange to me that not a lot of people know, but it seems to be that not a lot of people know it. And I guess that's fine, but let's see. Maybe because of this, maybe more people will check it out. But I do have to say, it's kind of not my thing. I don't know if it was the style of comedy it is, because this is kind of an action comedy show. It's actually, the style of comedy is Manzai, which is a traditional stand-up comedy act from Japan. Well, it's at least the Japanese version of it is named Manzai. You have your old groups like Abbott and Costello that would also be considered Manzai groups. And it's typically the group where you have, or the duo, where you have a straight man and then kind of a goofball that messes everything up, and the straight man has to put up with it all the time. And I don't know if it's that style of comedy doesn't appeal to me, because I feel like I've seen plenty of Manzai comedy before and have enjoyed it, in whether it's from America or Japan or where else. I can't think of it like any off the top of my head, but I'm sure that I had to have seen some more and not dislike it as much as I did in this show. Because I'm not really going to dig into the plot right here, because it's pretty basic and whatever kind of plot line. And the comedy is, I think, one of the things that kind of forces its way out of that a lot. So you take this kind of straight man. It's a duo that hunts pirates. They work for this space government agency in space, in this sci-fi setting of our solar system, but in the future. And you have this duo. It's this guy and this like kind of anthropomorphized cat that go around and hunt space pirates. And they're the comedy. The cat is kind of the fuck up goofball that is always a pain in the ass, and the other guy has to deal with it. And the first episode, it wasn't that bad. Like, their comedy, they were kind of all right. It got pretty exhaustive, but then after the first episode, it kind of just tanked. Anytime they would come back to that style of comedy, it really just took away from the experience, and I just got tired of it. And instead of being like, oh yeah, the straight man has to put up with this guy, it's like, I have to put up with this fucking asshole cat, which I was not okay with. Because he's kind of just annoying. He's kind of just a pain in the ass, little selfish little prick that just likes to eat food and fuck things up. And then another bad thing is that the straight man is in love with this girl, but the girl thinks he's a dick because he's a dick to the cat, but that's only because the cat is like the biggest asshole in the world, but the girl happens to also really like the cat and think it's adorable. And it just like really pisses me off, because this guy doesn't deserve any of this bullshit, and this girl is being stupid, and the cat is being an asshole. It's just not a good, fun dynamic to watch. And then you combine that with the story and the action. The story or whatever, it's just a couple different pirate, like they're hunting space pirates, but it's like weirder versions. And I did appreciate some of the ideas they had. Like, they just had like cool sci-fi ideas. Like, there was one where like this tree just like sprung up out of like pouring water in like a little thing, and it like was a snack tree with a hammock and a TV, and like snacks like hung off the tree and you could eat it, and the cat really liked it. And then the second like arc, there's 3 arcs, each one's 2 episodes, each by a different director actually. And they do this baseball arc, and the idea of them doing this baseball arc is like interesting, because I find like when stuff like baseball is infused in like just standard action plots or whatever, it's interesting. I don't know, they do interesting things with baseball. And I remember one of my favorite episodes of Samurai Champloo, which is one of my favorite shows, is the baseball episode when they play baseball against the Americans, which is, it's just a pretty fun, I don't know, it's a fun little twist, but it just drags on in this show, and that's kind of everything. And they have, I wish it was like 1 episode per arc as opposed to 2. I think this whole runtime could be cut in half because it really was a grueling run to sit through all of these episodes and just have to deal with the bullshit comedy, the kind of lackluster characters and annoying characters, plot lines and action that isn't really interesting, that doesn't really have any reward or catharsis to it. It's just kind of, it wants to be doing a lot. It has a lot of ideas that it wants to express and a lot of cool things that it wants to do. It just really falls flat doing it. Nothing in the show is exciting. Nothing is engaging. Nothing is, I don't know, there's nothing to grab onto. There's nothing tangible, you know? It's really not my kind of action show. And I don't think it's a lot of people's. From the few people that have seen it, I've seen good people give it relatively high scores, like somewhere like 6 or 7s, which is relatively high for some of these older OVAs. But I don't see where it comes from, especially when compared to a lot of the other OVAs from this time period, the late 80s, early 90s, that kind of blow this out of the water. You take another like equally obscure movie like when I did Ninja Gaiden, and sure, it's not like a quirky space comedy, but at least it has like the action scenes are cool, the fight choreography is interesting, the animation's a little bit more interesting, the character designs are a little bit better and more original. The character designs here are really flat, and they try to, like I said, they try to do some little interesting things, but it just they don't exceed. The only character design I liked was the cat's, but the cat was a jackass and annoying piece of shit, so I didn't want to pay attention to him. So I really can't say that like this show is worth recommending. I can't say that I enjoyed it. It was kind of a painful watch, to be honest. And I think it's just really just falling flat in terms of execution because it had potential from the start. From the first episode, I had it at like a 6. And then as it went on, my score dropped to a 5, then a 4, then a 3. And it might be sitting at a 3 still. I think that's probably where it ends up, is just sitting at this 3, and then it kind of stalled out at the end, and I was kind of just done with it. And it was a pain to sit through 2.5 hours of this shitty OVA that I really didn't have any attachment to, that I wasn't too fond of. So yeah, I really don't want to drag on a lot more about this because I've had plenty of time to just ramble. There's nothing really much to praise. It's pretty bad. That's it. It's kind of disappointing though, because since I've started doing this new structure of the old anime project, this is kind of what we had to deal with. So with this, that's it for this episode of the old anime project. I forgot to take a note of what the next one is, so I'll put that down in the description, like I always do. If you ever need a reminder of what we're watching, it's always in the description of these episodes anyways, so that'll be down there. Definitely, I wouldn't really recommend it, though, unless you're really into these kind of things. If this kind of comedy sounds like it's up your alley, go for it. But this really didn't do it for me. So, yeah, that's it. I'll catch you in the next episode. And, yeah, next thing, check the description for what we're watching next. Peace out.